Welcome everybody to this new SRT Tuesday webinar with Cinegy, with this hot topic, remote broadcasting with mobile devices, SRT and the cloud. But first of all, please let me introduce myself and the webinars. My name is Suso Carrillo. I'm the SRT Alliance Director, and the reason we made these webinars is to show you how different SRT Alliance members, create these awesome workflows and products using this amazing protocol. So please, that's my personal email, director@srtalliance.org. Feel free to drop me an email if you need to discuss anything around SRT, around the protocol itself or the SRT Alliance. For those of you who don't know much about the protocol, let me recap a couple of milestones in this timeline. Well, SRT is a streaming protocol focused on video contribution. It was presented at IBC 2012, and then a couple of years later than that, in IBC 2014, it was when Haivision released their first Makito encoder. Makito is an encoder that it's already exists right now, and it's the most developed SRT encoder on the industry. And then a huge milestone for SRT is that at NAB 2017, Haivision decided to open source the protocol, and that was the time when the SRT Alliance was created. And the SRT Alliance started growing from the very beginning, and indeed, I can say right now that we are more than 500 members. That is absolutely awesome. And the latest news is that Google Cloud has effectively joined the Alliance. That initiative, open sourcing SRT, won an Emmy Award at NAB 2019, getting the recognition from the whole industry. But what is happening in the industry? Well, this is a slide getting from a recently broadcast IP transformation report made by Haivision with different questions to different companies from the media and entertainment space. And one of the questions was indeed, which video transport protocols do you currently use? And this is the result. We can see that SRT is growing like a lot. And well, these numbers maybe had changed since early summer. I don't know, but maybe SRT has indeed surpassed RTMP, or it's something that I'm for sure it's going to happen maybe in the upcoming months. So why? So we can see again the growing in our own events. So the SRT Alliance hosts a couple of times every year an SRT interoperability Blackfest, and what we see is that every time we organize the Blackfest, the numbers are doubling. So in the last one we get more than 40 different vendors, and we try SRT even with this Starlink satellite network system that it was absolutely amazing, and it works so well, and we made over 1,400 device-to-device tests. That it's also missed the double that in the last time, and our Slack channel is growing and growing, more than 1,500 members right now. And why is the protocol growing itself? Well, the protocol is growing because it's seen as a kind of standard in contribution into the industry, but also because it's super easy to use and it works. The main difference between SRT and other similar protocols is that it really works, okay? And there is a lot of documentation at srtalliance.org and GitHub and all the open source package, okay? But Haivision was the SRT inventor. It's the sponsor of these SRT Tuesday webinars, and the company has a lot of a full SRT suite for for a lot of different industries, such as broadcast, house of worship, entertainment, or defense, including this Makito X4 video encoder that is maybe the high-end encoder of the industry. And let me highlight these two free tools that they are an absolutely must for any SRT user, and feel free to download them, especially this Haivision Play Pro, that it's a free essential SRT app, as is text in the slide, and I said before, is a must. And anything you need from Haivision, just drop an email to videosolutions@haivision.com, and remember that Haivision is the inventor of SRT. And at this point, let me introduce you to Luis Kirkaldie. Hi, Luis.
Hey, Suso.
How you doing?
Oh, you know, just another exciting webinar. They still make sense, even though now COVID's opened up a bit more. Webinars are still great ways to talk to people.
Yeah, well, one of the greatest things with Cinegy is that you were an early SRT adopter. That's why you are an SRT ambassador member. And also you are always helping us, supporting the initiative. So thank you for that, Luis. And, you know, the audience is yours. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides and yeah.
Cool. I will, in that case, attempt to take control. So if you can let me know if you're seeing my slide now. Oh, I'm seeing a thumbs up to my right from my colleague, meaning you're able to see my slide deck now, and it means I have control. So yes, everyone should strap in. So as Suso said, my name is Lewis Kirkaldie. I'm head of product management at Cinegy, and at Cinegy we saw the awesomeness of SRT as early as we could. We managed to somehow miss it in NAB 2017. Maybe it was the jet lag, but I certainly remember discovering it during IBC 2017, and my boss Jan. It was a huge, like, go and find out more about this. This is something the industry's been waiting for. Like someone's actually open sourced and committed to this technology now, and it should hopefully, if it goes where we were hoping it was going to do, solve a lot of problems where there were proprietary implementations everywhere. So at Cinegy, we were incredibly eager to dash ahead and use this. And really pleased that the SRT GitHub page that the Haivision engineers are on was up and was working, and we contributed some things in there as well, because it's important to try and help this grow, and where we've found some bugs and submitted fixes for bugs and dealt with a load of build server fun things. So it's always brilliant to actually work with and engage with the developers from SRT. So shout outs to the guys from Haivision that are regularly working really hard there. Thanks guys. So with that, we've taken that library and we've been building that into all of our products. Everything at Cinegy has been SRT enabled for like 3 years at least now, and it's a huge part of everything we do. And what I'm going to do during this webinar is try and take you a little bit through, at a very high level, our cloud vision, our thought leadership for why we think this technology is so important, and how we're intending to evolve usage of this technology with our products. We've already integrated it into a lot of places, but this is about where are we going next with it. And so we're going to introduce some things that haven't really been talked about by Cinegy yet, introduced for the first time here during this webinar. So if I advance my slide, oh, that didn't work. Try again. It still didn't work. There we go. I'm afraid you get lots of pretty pictures when I present, and you have to listen to my carefully rehearsed English accent to listen to what I'm saying as we go through this. So apologies if I manage to lose anyone through translation issues. You can fire questions through to our moderating team, and they'll get those through to us at the end. So if I manage to confuse anyone, do kind of raise that through the webinar questions. But I'm here to now talk to you a little bit about what Cinegy's cloud vision is. So at Cinegy, we've always been with an eye towards software solutions to problems as a company. I mean, hardware absolutely has its place and is an important part of the ecosystem, but we've decided to focus specifically on software solutions. And of course, software lends itself very, very well to being deployed in the cloud, where somebody else brings the hardware for you. And we at Cinegy have had an eye on virtualization, an absolute fundamental component of cloud use, since before I joined the company. And to put that into perspective, I've been at Cinegy for over 12 years now. So when I arrived, my boss Jan was giving speeches at SIMTI about how the future of playout servers will actually be VMs running in this new thing somebody might have heard of called AWS. At the time, it was very new still, and of course now absolutely ubiquitous. So we've been on a multi-year journey towards helping people adopt and use the cloud. And I was thinking, leading into this webinar, how to describe what it is that we as Cinegy, as a company, care about when it comes to the cloud. What are we actually trying to do at a very high level? What's the fundamentals behind this? And ultimately, using the cloud and planning to deploy the cloud boils down to a particularly important fact, which is, thankfully and hopefully for the rest of my lifetime, some things just don't go into the cloud. Humans remain entirely out of the cloud, at least in physical form. So there is a limit. If you go all in on the cloud, if you decide that this is how your business must run, the humans thankfully remain safely outside the cloud. But that means that you're always going to be having to deal with the fact that some part of your infrastructure, some part of your business is in a completely different place to where your employees, where your staff, or your team members are. So, we've been focusing on that at Cinegy to try and work out what can we do to take all of our stack and make this work. So ultimately, it all boils down to a couple of things. It's all about the inputs. So as a human, I need to use a keyboard, a mouse, and as a broadcaster and as the broadcast professionals we are working with and at Cinegy, we have cameras. So there's always going to be some physical elements that would sit outside of the cloud because you are not where the cloud is. So we'll have to have computers with keyboards and mouse and jog shuttles and pens and all of the other things that you might have to actually work as a professional to interface with these machines. And then similarly, cameras. When you have a studio, you need to point the cameras at the humans. So those are always going to be outside of the cloud. And you have to kind of understand that there's always going to be this interfacing, and that's before you start looking at things like hybrid cloud interfaces, where you have some equipment on premise running cloudish workloads, or you have equipment like the Haivision Makito X4, where obviously that would plug into the camera to interconnect it up to the cloud. So there is always going to be some kind of interfacing, and where you have inputs, of course, the whole point of having inputs is that hopefully at the other end somewhere you get outputs. So you spent your time building up your production, you're filming things in the studio, you're editing things, you're logging material. At the end of the day, you do need to get that back. Otherwise, all you've done is just burnt energy and money in the cloud. Ultimately, of course, the idea is this stuff comes back to be viewed either by actually the public in a broadcast scenario or internal team members in some kind of marketing communications or healthcare. Then at the end of the day, if you don't bring it back, all you have is just a giant munching machine that adds no value. So if we understand that the boundaries of the cloud are the important part, then pretty much everything else can go into the cloud. And that's what we at Cinegy have been working to try and do, define a really high quality boundary edge, and then wherever anything else can be moved to the cloud, it can move to the cloud. But a critical element to our thinking around this is the idea is that ideally all you actually need to have is one of these. You bring a credit card to the party, and then you can get whatever you need to do. And one of our goals at Cinegy is to try and actually make it so that this can be completely self-provide, that if you want to actually engage with Cinegy using the cloud, that you don't necessarily need to engage with a human at all. We actually started this to give you guys an idea of how long we've been doing this. We actually had the first ever software playout solution available in initially the AWS marketplace and later the Azure marketplace 5 years ago now. We added the ability for people to actually launch our key broadcast tools and then expanded it with our multi-viewer and ingest tools into the AWS marketplace 5 years ago now, and that continues to be there. And what's great about that is that customers can jump onto these marketplaces, and we actually have customers that we don't know. When you buy things through the AWS marketplace, it's actually anonymized. Customers have to choose to reveal themselves to us. So we're actually servicing customers through the cloud like this, and we don't even know who they are. They just get money sent to us through these marketplace interfaces when they purchase our products. And for us, that's a really powerful element of helping customers have a level of comfort that they can try and consume some services, and they know that they're paying for their services and what they get back, and they don't end up having to wait for someone to call them or get into complicated contractual situations to try and roll things out. So our vision is always on how can we make sure there is low friction for people to pick up and run with these tools. So what we've done over the course of this time is work and now an obligatory quote goes into the PowerPoint. We've worked very hard for a long time now to make sure that we have the tooling, working on software before actually it was necessarily easy to run on software. I remember when I joined Cinegy 12 years ago, struggling to get real-time graphics branding to work in HD because computers were just slower. But we did all that work and that investment long ago, so that now machines just laugh at an HD channel with branding. It's really trivial for that to be carried out in software for us. So we've put a lot of preparatory work in to make sure that we're ready for the future and have been ready for the future. And then, of course, using SRT, that's helped us solve these problems. So where we have these challenges of having cameras and outputs, the solution to these problems is tooling like SRT provides. SRT is that kind of armored cable to the internet that exists between you and the cloud. And as it gets further out, the armored cable becomes more and more ethereal. It's one of those things that just lets you take what would have been a nice big bulky SDI cable previously and achieve very similar things just using Wi-Fi and the cloud. So solving part of this problem without being able to actually get these outputs back or send these inputs in, there would be no point having the cloud there. No one wants a text-based video broadcasting system. What we need is these rich video experiences. So we've enhanced all of our products to work with SRT, but one of the things I want to talk about a little bit now is D2 Cam and how we've are introducing a new tool that can be used to help you work and contribute video in, along with traditional studio-based cameras or any of the other input type material and input devices that you can think of. So, quickly, how does this fit into kind of the Cinegy product universe? So, as I said before, we have a number of products in this area. So I'm going to be focusing on in a minute in a demo about D2 Cam and what we're doing with Cinegy Cloud. But we have a rich experience spanning back now 18 years in building software components for multi-viewers, for ingest, for channel playback, and channel playback of complex tier 1 channels directly from public cloud infrastructure. So where we talk about some of the things we're doing now to interface into the cloud, the goal is this maps onto this wider ecosystem I don't actually have time to go into in this relatively tight windowed webinar. So we have a wider space of tooling, but SRT provides that critical ability to map in and map back out again. So the pitch for this webinar was all about the camera you have. So I pulled up a different quote from Jay Maisel rather than the usual one that's attributed to a few different people about the best camera you have is the one you've got. But this is if you don't have a camera, the best thing you can do is describe how good it looked. And so for us at Cinegy, one of the things we wanted to do was try and add another tool into our customers' pockets. So we have a number of customers that work in news gathering and sports environments. So it's really important for them to be able to do quick turnaround recording. So maybe in news gathering or event-based material and scenarios, you prioritize different things to what you might do with a high-end drama, for example. You want news and events to be reported as soon as they happen. And sometimes getting away and getting on scene somewhere, the quickest thing you can do is just rely on whatever you're carrying with you, which these days means pretty much everyone has a mobile phone. So one of the things we demonstrated back in March was we ran our first Cinegy technical conference, virtual technical conference. They used to be physical, but then there was some pandemic thing that interrupted that. So we ran our first virtual technical conference using iPads as the studio cameras and running the earliest version of the D2 Cam app that you can see in this slide here on phones. It doesn't really come through a webinar webcam very well, but I can kind of open the app on here and then it's me in a camera. But I've rigged a more permanent demo in a moment, but we have the D2 Cam app, and the purpose of that is to try and actually add some pro features towards organizing the capture of that material and the streaming of that material and get it into the cloud. And it's all managed through SRT and the Daniel 2 codec, that is something Cinegy have invented and been working on over the last 5 or 6 or 7 years now. So the Daniel 2 codec is our own codec that we've created that runs on GPUs, CPUs, ARM, normal Intel processors, and it's cross-platform. We have it on Android, we have it on iOS. So there's some bullet points for you there about what this codec does. But this is at the heart of the D2Cam app. And this is what allows us to record in a higher quality above what you would normally get on a camera. And to give you some context, this is where we kind of position the Daniel 2 codec. So when you run D2Cam, you can actually record in hundreds of megabits of UHD using our codec in a way that the new iPhone 13 is now starting to bring up the ability to record ProRes. Although D2Cam can work in UHD 60 on an iPhone 11 Pro, whereas the new iPhone 13 can do ProRes in just 30 FPS. So there's still some improvement to be done by Apple to bring ProRes along there. But with D2Cam, we've got this codec that lets us do that recording. And what we've looked to build to start with is to bring in these workflows. So we demonstrated this in March, where we were using iPads as studio cameras. And we listened to some of our customers, and they said, "Oh, we'd be really interested in a kind of store and forward workflow where you can use the benefits of that camera and that codec in these fantastic devices these days. The camera quality in them is really quite remarkable for something that fits in your pocket." But if you could do something to actually bring back over cellular networks the streams, that would be great. So we listened to what people said, and we've been upgrading this application so it can do what you can hopefully now see on this lovely, very blue blocky diagram. This is as technical as I get. I promise I'm not going to try and kill anyone with descriptions of exactly where we slice H.264 NAL units. But what we do is with D2Cam can stream back a good enough stream where we can prioritize real-time delivery of material. So SRT has two modes. People don't always realize this, but it can run in prioritized low latency or fixed latency at the detriment potentially of the content being carried, or it can prioritize data integrity. So it can make sure that absolutely guaranteed you're going to get the file or the video data as it was recorded, but it may run faster or slower than real time. So what we can do with D2Cam is we can be streaming for a live event. We can be streaming in a cellular compatible codec like H.264 or HEVC to bring that into the Cinegy Cloud or back to your on-premise Cinegy equipment or anything else that understands SRT. And you can be bringing that back. And if maybe you're reporting from some event where there's loads of cell phones around and there's no 5G coverage, it may well be that you have the quality set relatively low, or that for a moment you have some breakup where SRT obviously is brilliant at recovering errors, but it can't work miracles. There is a limit to the magic that can be carried out by these recovery protocols. If you have no cell phone signal, you have no cell phone signal, or if it drops out because there's 4,000 people celebrating a goal behind you, there can be challenges there. So what we've got is this good enough real-time stream that can come in and register itself in Cinegy Cloud, but then we can be simultaneously recording in high resolution to the local storage on the device. And then when there's better coverage or when the live stream is finished, trickling over the cell phone connection, or if it's 5G connection, rushing over the cell phone connection, can be a high quality stream. And what Cinegy Cloud can do using the Cinegy Archive media asset management system that's been knocking around for nigh on 20 years now, is that we can actually create a multi-format asset. So we've built an ingester, import and normalizer stage in the cloud that's able to kind of recover the stream. It sets some timing information in D2Cam, so we have a really good idea. Even if we lose signal, we can count how long the signal's been lost and fill it out black, normalize that signal out so that the studio can still kind of pick in these signals as they come up, work with them if they can. An editor can cut out what's available perhaps, but then it may not be very high quality. But when the app then uploads the high resolution, our asset management system just transparently relinks it. So if the lunchtime news only had the good enough quality available, the kind of get it out on the lunchtime news, because any pictures are better than none. You don't want to just be describing the scenes that you're reporting on. Then those will be registered in the Cinegy system. Those will play out. But when the camera synchronizes the high resolution, the Cinegy Archive asset management system will just snap in the high resolution. So the next time you broadcast it afterwards, it will have just reverted to higher quality. It will have filled in any gaps. It will have updated any timelines. So this is the idea that we had around what could we do to help improve some of that input side and build a compelling tool that can work with our products and to help justify where would a value be of using the Cinegy asset management platform hosted in the cloud. So if I just move forwards, then the other side of that we've got to address is the human element. If I've uploaded things from my mobile device and I'm showing things from this camera I'm at the event, that's great. I've input to there, but now I need to actually kind of do something with that. So this is then the opportunity I get to introduce Cinegy Cloud Desktop. So for anyone that knows Cinegy, you may have been using Cinegy Desktop, our asset management platform, a thick app that runs on Windows that we've had for, again, about getting on for 20 years now. And Cloud Desktop is the next evolution of this, a multi-platform app that runs on Mac OS and on Windows, and is designed from the first stage to be cloud connected rather than connected over corporate IT networks and Active Directory logins. So this is something we've been actively working on for the last year, and that we're building as effectively the human interface component to access your Cinegy archive system, your asset management system, hosted by Cinegy in the cloud. And this gives me the opportunity to then bring up this slide of demo. So now I attempt to minimize PowerPoint without causing too much of a collapse in the space-time continuum, and it refuses to go. Lovely, there we go, and launch my app. So hopefully, and Suso can maybe tell me, like, are you seeing an app now? Oh, yeah, my colleague to the right, the magical thumbs up. Yes, it's working. So what I've got running here is, this is the Cinegy Cloud Desktop running on my Windows PC. And so we can move around inside the Cinegy Asset Management System here. So I'm not going to try and show off too much stuff in here because we're supposed to be, not taking too long. But I'll quickly show off, I can open an asset inside here and let this load up into my preview window. And then just to show you, one of the things we prioritize here, a little bit of image scrubbing there, we can pop open this. This is an hour-long asset recorded like a decade ago at Glastonbury when we were working there. And I'm accessing this live from Bristol in the UK to the AWS data center in Ireland, and I can just scrub across an hour of material. That's all live streaming from the crowd there. We can jump right through an hour of material like that. So, we're really emphasizing the benefits of trying to make sure that we give the best input for these humans at the edge of the cloud, optimize their experience. It's possible that the webinar I've seen Zoom doesn't necessarily do a brilliant job of updating, these images. So I've no idea. I'm seeing a good 15 frames a second updating there as I scrub through. There's a lot of changing images. It may well not be coming across over the webinar, but trust me, it looks brilliant. If anyone doubts me, I can send them an MP4 of it working. But then what I also wanted to do was to bring the D2 cam angle up. I've got a pole set up in the camera that should have been pointing at me for a little while now, where we set off a live recording. And so we can actually see this is me sat, this is the desk that I sit at of me recording this. So we should be able to scrub forwards in time a bit and actually see me sitting there and beginning to give this webinar. There's me paying attention to Suso, listening to his great speech there. And then I get animated and start talking. And so this is me moving my hands around. I've stuck a clock there so we can see how well or badly I'm running to time. Suso, give me a word. Pick a word just to prove it's not fake.
Yeah, okay, well, maybe as I know that you are a dog lover, I would say cats.
Cats, you want me to cats? Because I'm a dog man. So there we go. I've written on my piece of paper cats. So I'm going to hold that up to the camera there. And we should be just about 10 seconds behind reality. There's me literally drawing it. There we go. Just kind of a hit frame advance. It's not a very solid writing there. Probably hard to read as my pen was running out. And move it right up to the camera. Cats. So yeah, one of the great things, a key thing to be able to do with video, it's great to stream it live, but you want some asset management tooling to be able to actually work with that material in near real time. I didn't hold it up very long. Have that there so that you can do advanced things with it, log it. You can see here the duration of this. It's been running an hour long now. Duration of this running. So we're streaming in from D2 cam. This is effectively the good quality. It's 10 megabit H.264, and then the Cinegy Asset Management System, when this session stops, can drop in 100 megabit iframe based high quality 422 codec edition. So, and that's a quick demo because I can see from my ticking clock there that I'm running up against the edge of my allotted time there. So, you've had it genuinely is real demo of me sitting and talking and see the junk all on my shelf behind me. So if I switch back to PowerPoint now with some skill, I hope. No, I've fallen out. Come on, PowerPoint. Hey, there we go. So then I'll just round up my endless speaking part with next steps. So we know the SRT audience have a mix of creative people, of engineers, of CTOs, of developers. So we tried to keep this at a level that can be insightful to everyone. But one of the next things we'll be doing is having a refresh technical conference in November next month. We haven't fixed the exact date yet, where we'll dig a deeper technical dive into how this is working, how we as Cinegy would help existing customers, perhaps considering hybrid deployments or on-premise deployments of these things. How do we technically make this work? How do we use transport streams and H.264 and SRT? So we can dig into this with some more technical details next month. Also, we still have got a plan to have a closed beta of Cinegy Cloud this year still. So we'll be reaching out to some partners and customers that we already have a great relationship with that are willing to try and do some bleeding edge stuff and try and get this out to people. D2 Cam as well, we already have it in the App Store on a closed beta, but we'll be looking to send some invites out to use that. And it's useful for just recording high quality material, regardless of actually beaming it back to somewhere. I mean, I know a number of my colleagues have been filming some really high quality stuff, and also I've been filming my dog, just looking at how great the codec manages to make with just a camera. So we'll be able to invite people to D2 Cam as well as Cinegy Cloud before, as soon as we can in the new year, after hopefully a restful Christmas break. We'll be looking to do an open beta where we'll be allowing people to sign up, and we'll get to feel how well we can support people as we go into a paid for live service. So we've got a lot to do, which means probably step 4 will be not until Q2 2023 before I'm finally allowed to sleep. So it's some quite interesting times for us at Cinegy. As a company, we've always shipped software, and this will be our first foray into delivering software as a service, to delivering an actual platform. And we hope people are excited by this. Certainly, we've had a lot of fun building this technology and trying to make cloud-connected front ends that respond as well as our local area network connected apps have been. And that's the story of announcing to the world Cinegy Cloud is coming, and showing you what that looks like already, and road mapping when you'll be able to touch some of it. So with that, I'd like to thank Suso and all the guys at High Vision for the chance to speak to you all, and throw back to him. So Suso, back to you.
Okay, great. So I think that's all. So we are going to end this webinar. Thank you so much, Luis, for this presentation and this absolutely awesome use case.
Thank you. Thank you guys for hosting us. And I wish you luck in your future SRT Tuesday webinars.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending, and stay tuned for next SRT Tuesday webinars. Bye-bye.